Hi vinyl community, it's Michael. Welcome back to Near Wild Heaven. This video is going to be just random pulls from my collection. I'm trying to cut down on vinyl buys. I know it's not easy to do, especially when you're a hardcore collector, but it's something I gotta do. So before I get started showing off my records, I want to give a big thank you to Cosmic Brian from Cosmic Vinyl. He gave me a shout out last week and it boosted my subs up over 100. So thank you so much for that, and thanks to everyone who's subscribed in the last week or so. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's get started here. First up, this is The Wipers. Is This Real? Yes, it is. This is a great album, great punk album. They're from the Pacific Northwest, Portland, Oregon. This originally came out in 1980. This is a reissue from 2006. 2006 on Jackpot Records. So good. So very, very good. This is one of the albums that inspired Kurt Cobain. In fact, Nirvana did some covers of this album. They did Return of the Rat and D7. Excellent, but such a good album. They're a really great band. If you're into punk, grunge, anything like that, you want to check these guys out if you don't already know about them. But really good. The Wipers. Okay, up next, this is Kil Moon. Ghosts on the Great Highway. This is really good. It's kind of acoustic based, maybe a little bit folky. This is a side project by Mark Kozelek, who was in the Red House Painters, which is like sort of a shoegaze group. I'm not too familiar with all of their music. I have like one record by Red House Painters, but this is really good. This is so good. His voice is like really soulful or mournful, I should say. Some of the songs is like Carry Me Ohio is just a beautiful song. Glenn Tipton, Salvador Sanchez, Last Tide, Floating. It's all good. Really, really good album. If you're into like more mellower acoustic based rock, this will do it for you. Great album. Kil Moon. Great Ghost of the Highway, or Ghost of the Great Highway. Really good album. Up next, this is the Swell Maps. This is a trip to Marineville, their first album from I think 1980. This is a British band. They're from Birmingham, and they were kind of experimental, kind of in the punk vein, but experimental. They sound similar to maybe The Fall and Wire, but there's a lot more going on in the background of their records. I mean, every time I listen to this, I hear something different. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's background stuff, a lot of percussion, tape loops, very experimental, but really, really good. If you don't know about this band and you're into that kind of stuff, you might want to check them out. This is a reissue from like 2013, I think. But Great band, Swell Maps. They put out this album and one album after this, and then there's a bunch of compilations of singles and unreleased stuff. In fact, this comes with a 45 here. Well, actually, it's a 33. I don't know why I call it a 45, but yeah, just really good stuff. If you're into avant-garde punk, you might want to check these guys out. I really enjoy this album a lot. So there you go for that. The Swell Maps. Up next, this is Bebop Deluxe, Futurama. This is from 1975. Great guitar work from Bill Nelson. I think he's a really underrated guitarist. It's just so good. I did see these guys in concert, like back in the 70s sometime. I think it was 77. But so good. The guitar work, like I said, Bill Nelson is an excellent guitarist, very underrated. They have several albums out, several other albums. They existed. Their first album, I think, came out in like 73. This is their second one from 75. And they got like 2 or 3 other ones after this, but they're all really good. All excellent, hard, not hard, but rock. It's just good rock music. Excellent lead guitar. But you might want to check these guys out too. Bebop Deluxe. The album's called Futurama. They had a thing about naming their records, their albums after guitars or something to do with guitars. Futurama is a brand of a guitar. I'm not sure. Or it might be a model from Gibson or Fender or something. But yeah, this, and then they have another album. It's called Sunburst Finish, which is like a style of painting that they paint the guitar in a sunburst finish style. That's where that came from. But great album. If you like rock music, good British rock from the 70s. I don't want to say it's like hard rock, but it does rock out some. But like I said, Bill Nelson's guitar work is just so excellent. It's a great band if you want to check them out. Bebop Deluxe. Up next, we have the Move, Message from the Country. This is the last Move album before they changed into Electric Light Orchestra. At this point, there was only 3 members of the band. There was Roy Wood, Jeff Lynne, and Bev Bevan on drums. But great album. I love the Move. I think just about everything they did was really good. Roy Wood was a great songwriter, and when Jeff Lynne joined up, they produced quite a few good stuff, good songs. So yeah, the Move, Message from the Country, really good stuff. Good classic rock. Up next, this is Nico, Chelsea Girl. This is from 1968. This is her pop album. She made it with the assistance from John Cale and Lou Reed, and I believe Sterling Morrison is on this too. So it's like 3/4 of the Velvet Underground play on this album as her backup band. But great stuff. A little more like in a folk mood, really melancholy, sometimes sad, but great stuff. After this album, she would branch out into more avant-garde, experimental type music, but really interesting person, Nico there. But great album. I love Nico. I love just about everything she's done. And if you like that kind of stuff, you want to check out Nico, Chelsea Girl. Really good album. And up next, this is Everclear, Sparkle and Fade. This is from 1995. This is a 2015 reissue on Capitol Records, but really good. I wouldn't call it pop punk. It's a little more harder edged. It's in the punk vein, but this is still really good. Great songs. Heroin Girl, You Make Me Feel Like a Whore, Santa Monica, Heart Spark $. It's great stuff. Really good. It is kind of poppy at times, but it's got a harder edge to it. I wouldn't exactly call it pop punk, but it's got more of a harder edge than, say, Green Day or somebody like that. But still, just a great album. Really, really like this one a lot. It's from 1995, Everclear, Sparkle and Fade. So there you go. Up next, this is Pere Ubu, The Tenement Year. This is their comeback album from 1988. In 1980, they released an album called Song for the Bailing Man. That was their last album with the original lineup. And then they all went off to do side projects and stuff like that. But they reunited in '88 with sort of a new lineup. It was like three of the guys were original members, and the other three were added. They were probably from David Thomas's backup band when he was doing solo stuff. But this is a good album. This was their first attempt at being more commercial than their previous stuff was. I mean, I'm a big fan of Pere Ubu. I really like them a lot, but there was a period of about 3 albums where I thought they were just totally unlistenable. I mean, they were avant-garde, experimental, which I usually like, but those albums were just really hard to listen to. But this one, it's more accessible. There was a few more albums after this that they did that were also kind of more commercial. But then in the 90s, in the mid-90s, they went back to their more punkier, harder edge stuff. But this is still really good. Even them doing commercially acceptable music, they were still a little bit off from everybody else. But great album, great band. If you like Pere Ubu's first album or so, you might want to check this one out too. Really good stuff from Pere Ubu, The Tenement Year. Up next, this is a band I used to listen to a lot in the 70s. Excuse me. This is the Sensational Alex Harvey Band. Next, I believe this is their second or third album. Great band. Alex Harvey was all around musician type guy who he was in the British stage production of Hair back in the 60s. From there he formed a band called Alex Harvey's Big Soul Band, and then after that he hooked up with a band that was known as Tear Gas, who had they released an album. Some people out there, you might know about Tear Gas. They have an album out called Piggy Go Getter. Um, but anyway, Alex Harvey hooked up with them, changed their name to the Sensational Alex Harvey Band, and began releasing records under that name. But this is a great song, or a great album. The title song is by Jacques Brel. Uh, it's just great album. The Faith Healer is another really good one. Uh, Bambo Marble Eye. Just really good stuff. And what's kind of unusual, I don't know about unusual, but um, it's on the Vertigo Swirl. This is a US copy, and I didn't realize, I mean, I've had this album for years, but I didn't realize that there was US versions of the Vertigo Swirl. But great album. Love this album. I actually got to see this band. They actually played in Elyria, of all places, in a small club called the Joker back in the mid-70s. But great album. I always liked this album. The Sensational Alex Harvey Band. Next. Up next, this is Shangri-Las Greatest Hits. This is a British comp on Top Line Records. All the stuff came out, probably originally came out in the early to mid 60s, but Shangri-Las are just great. So good. Good pop song, good girl group stuff. Classic songs, Leader of the Pack, Give 'em a Great Big Kiss, Out in the Streets, Remember Walking in the Sand. All of it is just so good. And I'd like to get a hold of some of their original albums, but they're kind of hard to find around here anyway. And if I do see them, they're beat to hell and not even worth picking up. But yeah, Shangri-Las Greatest Hits. Really good girl group sound. And up next, this is classic garage rock. Question Mark the Mysterians, 96 Tears. Everybody knows this song. Probably a well-known album too, but just great stuff. Great garage rock from the 60s. A bunch of Latino teenagers just grooving out, man. It's just so good. Really, really like this a lot. I'd really like to get a hold of some of their other stuff. They got a couple other albums out. I think the one after this was called Action, something like that. But yeah, you know, Question Mark and Mysterians, 96 Tears, great album. Another great album, or great band anyway, British band, the Troggs. This is Wild Thing on the Atco label. This came out originally in 1966. Really good garage rock, great stuff. Everybody knows Wild Thing. It's been covered by a million bands. It's great stuff. But I like a lot of their other stuff, like the song With a Girl Like You, Lost Girl, Evil, all really good stuff. So really good if you like garage rock, 60s rock, classic rock. You know, check these guys out. The Troggs. Wow, dang. Up next, this is a band I used to see in a teen club. This is a band from Cleveland, Left End, and their album's called Spoiled Rotten. This is glam rock, maybe similar to Alice Cooper of the time. This came out originally in 1974. Like I said, I used to see these guys all the time. There was a teen club in the town next over from where I lived, and they played there all the time. and when they did, the line to get in was like really long, but they were a good band, and this is their one and only album. Uh, really good stuff on this. Like I said, kind of hard rock, glam rock. If you like that kind of thing, you might want to check these guys out. Left End, Spoiled Rotten. Okay, up next, just a couple more here. Hardcore punk with the Dwarves. Whoops. I don't want to kind of. Oh. Anyway, Dwarves. This is Dwarves Must Die. Hardcore, probably similar to like Dead Kennedys. I got this not too long ago, but I don't know what more to say about it. It's just really good hardcore punk. If you like that kind of thing, you might want to check these guys out. Dwarves Must Die. And there you go. And last one here, another Savoy Brown. This is their second album, Getting to the Point. Really good blues rock, British blues. These guys came out of the same scene that Fleetwood Mac, Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac was in. Just great stuff. If you like British blues, this is the way to go. With Savoy Brown, you can't really go wrong with their early albums. At least their first 4 or 5 albums they did between I think 65 through 1970. They put out some great stuff, but classic British blues rock, really good guitar work, great musicianship. Love this band. I always try to get everything they have, at least their 60s output. I know by the 70s and early 80s, there was a lot of lineup changes with the band, and their sound changed a little bit, so I prefer like their earlier stuff. So that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed that. Once again, I'd like to thank Cosmic Brian for the shout out, and thank you to everyone who subscribed. Finally putting me over to 100 subs, and hopefully I'll rise up even more. So there you go, people. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.